welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how I decide what I put on my altar. This was a video that I asked if you guys would like to see and you guys said yes, so I decided to go ahead and film it for you guys. What I'm going to be going over today is how I decide what goes on my altar, how I decide what stones I'm going to be using, how I decide what cards to pull out of the deck and stuff like that. But it is very interesting to see how people use their intuition to do things like that. So without further ado, let's hop right in. So when I'm first putting together my altar for the month, I want to clear out all the old energy from the previous month. So I do film this process when I'm kind of taking all this stuff off and cleaning it off in the beginning, but while I'm doing that, I imagine all of the energy from the previous month being pulled out of the altar, so it's kind of a new clean slate. So energetically, any energy that's left behind from the previous month gets pulled out, and then I have room for the new energy to go in. After that, I go ahead and look through all of my altar cloths to see which one I want to use for the new month. And sometimes as the month is going on, like through August, I'll feel like I want to get a new altar cloth for September. So I'll go out and buy a new one. But for the most part, I just use what I have from the collection that I've collected so far. I go through them, and whatever one feels energetically right to fit with that month, then I'll use it. The way that I do this is I think of a color that reminds me of that month and what fits with that month. It isn't always the same every single year. So one year I might feel like green is the color for August, but maybe this year I might feel like red or purple is the color for August. So it does change depending on the year and how I feel about the month and what energies surround that month and what color fits with those energies. After I choose what altar cloth to use, I usually put the altar cloth down on the newly cleaned altar, and then I sage it so that the energy around the altar is clear and it just allows for things to be more energetically clean. And then after I do that, I will pull out all my crystals to decide what crystals go on the altar. So I will usually take all the crystals that I had before and wipe them off with a cloth with a little bit of natural cleaning solution on them, and depending on how dirty they are, they usually aren't that dirty, but a lot of times they'll get dusty or something over the month, so it's nice to just kind of clear them off. You could just use a dry cloth if you're worried about that, or compressed air, but I always just use a cloth because that's what works for me. And then after I do that, I put them back in their corresponding bags with where they go in my collection. Right now, my crystal collection is in a small tin box, and granted, if the crystal doesn't fit in there, then I don't keep it in there, but most of my crystals are small tumbles or things of that nature, so I keep them in a small tin with a bunch of bags that tell me what the crystals are and everything like that. And then I take out all my crystals that are in there, and I go through each bag and I hold each bag and see the energy of the crystal. If the crystal is something that really sings to me, so it might glow or it might just make me feel really happy or energetically just in sync with the energy of the month, then I'll put it aside, and I'll usually put them all together to see how they energetically mix. Some crystals might feel like they should go on the altar individually, but then when you put them together, they just don't feel right for the altar energy. So for me, it's something that I have to put them together in the beginning to know how they'll interact energy wise, and then if they do interact well, then I will go ahead and put both on the altar. This does take quite a while. It might take about 30 minutes at the most to do this, but I really do like to take my time with each of my crystals and really sit with each one and make sure that all of them are energetically syncing together and feel good together. After I do that, I usually decide what candle I want on my altar. I usually really like to have a candle on my altar just because candles just remind me of magic. When you're working with magic, you kind of imagine someone in a dark room working in candlelight, and that's just what it feels like to me. So I really do like having a candle on my altar. Not only that, but I just have liked candles from the time I was a little girl, and I just have always really liked the energy that they have. So I always have a candle on my altar in some form. So whether it's a small tea light or a smaller votive candle or a pillar candle, whatever it is, I do like to have a candle on my altar. Another thing that I've recently really liked having on my altar is cards, and you guys did ask me to go over how I choose what cards I put on my altar, and what I do is I usually go through all my card decks and decide a deck that I'm going to use for that month, because whatever deck I use is one that I'm not going to be able to use in readings during that month or however long I use it, because the cards are going to be missing being used on my altar. So I do try to use card decks that I'm not currently reaching for when I'm doing readings. So right now, the Messages from Your Spirit Animal Guides deck by Stephen D. Farmer is one that I'm not reaching for a whole lot when I do readings, but I feel like it's really good energetically for my altars. I will shuffle the deck to kind of, change up the energy and get it going, and then I'll go through each card individually. So one by one, I'll put the card down, and in my head, I will either hear a yes or a no answer. It won't be in my voice, it will be in one of my guides' voices or my angels' voices. That's how I hear them in my head. It might be different for you, but you might just see cards that glow or cards that feel different than the other cards. So whatever way works for you, just do that. So I'll go through and all the yeses go in one pile and all the nos go in another pile, so that I know that the no pile is cards that are not going to be used on the altar that month, and then the yes pile is the cards that I choose from to pick one for my altar of that month. And the reason why I don't narrow it down to one, which I could do, is because sometimes I choose to have 3 cards on the altar or 2 cards or just one, but I like to have the freedom of having multiple cards to use. So they usually know that, and they'll give me multiple cards that would fit with the energies of that month, and then that's how I choose the cards that go on my altar. From there, I have everything that I need to set up my altar to do the altar decorating videos. So I'll usually put them on the side table next to my bed, and then I'll just do my video for you guys, which you guys have already seen, so I'm not going to do that for this video. But the next video that will be up will be my September altar redecorating videos, so be sure to look out for that. But these are videos that I really enjoy doing because it helps kind of work my intuition at least once a month, and helps me to kind of tune in and be quiet with myself, because a lot of times when I'm doing this, I'm listening to ambient music or something like that, and it's really kind of a relaxation and a meditation for me. So I really do enjoy making these videos for you guys, so I hope that in the future they will be videos that you continue enjoying seeing from me. But as always, everybody has their different ways of doing things and different beliefs of what should go on an altar and what shouldn't. I'm not saying anybody should do it the way that I do it. This is just a way that works for me and that I've felt that works in my practice and that I feel comfortable with. So I'm glad I got to share it with you guys and tell you guys how I choose what to put on my altar. And if you guys liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. And if you have any video suggestions, absolutely go ahead and leave them in the comments down below, and I will add it to my video making list. And I hope to talk to you guys soon. Bye!